Good morning to you. Oh God, I gotta clear me. I meant to say, let me clear my throat. Yes, y'all. Okay, good morning, everyone that's coming into the live. Good morning, everyone that's coming into the live. I'm glad you're here. Let me get right into it. First, we're going to start off with our Father's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy you are the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Let me get right into it. I was doing a lot of research and things behind, studying the music, the art, the culture, the artists. So something oh God. Something came to my mind and said, go and look up Sony. And so when I went and I looked up Sony, right? Um I noticed that we've been like with Sony and everything. Yes, Wiss is a parent. Sony is the parent of the corporation, and every record label or whatever. Like I was like, a lot of these artists, right? When they sign up a contract with the record label or the executive of the record label or whatever company and stuff, and they come under them, that's when I realized that it's just so weird. Not weird. It's like a corporation. Like Sony. Sony is a corporation, right? And it has all kind of other things underneath it. Like it's underneath other record labels like RCA, Jive. Name some other record companies. Rockland Records, Atlantic Records, or something like that. They will be under Sony Music Group. That's what Sony is. It's a music group. It's like it's so weird, but anyway. So I looked at the stock market, right? I said, you know what? Black people need to start looking at stocks. You understand what I'm saying? Like investing in themselves. Like when I looked at it and I said, who owns Sony? Who's the biggest executive over the corporation of Sony? And when I looked and I found out the person who owns Sony is not even American, it's Japanese. And I was like, all this time, we talking about we gonna come for Sony. And I said, well, if black people under these record labels, like pull from these contracts under these record labels and just go independent, don't you know y'all can run Sony right the freak, you know, like really take away their profits. You could destroy Sony. They making money off of you. Without you investing in Sony, with your record labels and with your money, where your money is being invested in, and they ripping you off, you can take your records and get away from Sony. Poor Robert Sylvester Kelly. He never knew that. Because a lot of people don't know. But those people who were supposed to be working and protecting him and protecting his name out there, they should have known. They should have known about where his money's at. Like all these people, like your managers and all the property that you might own, and all the money they gave you, like advance payments and all that. Oh, you know all of that stuff just gets really. That stuff is like that's what they gave you to get yourself and invest in your career. Like they made this investment in you or whatever like that, and you want to own the rights over your music. To own the rights over your music, you have to bankrupt that whole Sony. You have to, black people just have to pull out of Sony. And everybody, like, it has to become like a real big clash action against Sony. To order for y'all to break them for what they done, you're going to have to pull out. You're going to have to get a class action. Everybody that was under that, all of them got to come into agreement to do that, or else Sony's going to just keep doing what they've been doing, staying in business and making profits off of your hard earned work. I don't know how I can explain it any easier than that. What people need to do to this corporation music group, Sony University Music Group is up there, and who else? These company, I think it's MGM, might own some of your record labels. I think it's MGM. I got to do more reading on it, but I was just doing some research about it because I was like looking at all of these artists that went through this fight with their rights and their music over. I mean, for this ain't new. You know, black people didn't know this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know this stuff. We never took time to really learn anything about investments, stocks, reading the stock exchange, like knowing these type of things. A lot of mornings you wake up and everything, them white people, they looking at their money. Everybody in the world looking at their money. Where is that in the market? And if they feel like they being abused in any kind of way or being taken advantage, let me tell you, they move their money right on out of that market. And I said, for these black people, for these black families, for the children's of all these black, they money is out there. But you got to learn that stock market where you making your investment. And that's why God had to spiritually move across the land to shut black people down. Give us some spirit, so put us on a spiritual sabbatical. You want to protest, you want to do whatever, you can do it right here on social media. You don't need to go out there for any reason for you to get your head bust in. For you to be out there in the public with that kind of hype. God is right here watching over each and every, got us all in where he need us to be, quietly away. If we have to go out and work, God is there being over you, protecting you, because this is our time to take time out and look at what's been happening all along to our lives. Music is the biggest influence on people's lives. Music is in the universe. It's the universe. Remember that song by the OJs? Music is the healing source of the world. It's more powerful than some man. Is you telling your story every day and how it's touching people's lives that are going through that same thing with you, and people that just gonna feel special. It's just how it's gonna connect you in the universe. So what I'm saying to black people that are listening out there, is that we need to get it together and stop putting your money. Go watch that stock market. Like, I could give Jamal Bryant credit for this. It's not an easy thing to do, to say to the false prophet about the fake prophet. But let me tell you something. In that message, if we would move our feelings and our personal feelings or whatever, our flesh out the way, and we shall hear God, not man. That's the whole important thing. And I said, God had touched down in Jamal Bryant when that pulpit that day, that we should be boycotting these businesses. Jamal knows that stock market, y'all. He is telling you something that I never pay attention to. I didn't pay attention to it until I had to deal with this thing with Sony. And even I wasn't in agreement with Jamal. I said, look, I posted it. It's on my wall somewhere. I'm not lying. I don't want to take no part of it. Target ain't never did blase to me. So I'm not going to take no part of that. I think about those people jobs, they money, they this, they that. They an employee at Target. Target, the corporation Target, whatever, Amazon, Target, all these big organizations and everything that's just been enslaved, taking advantage of your money and disrespectful to you. Yep. Here's our time, y'all. Pull your money out of there. Pull your money out of there. That's what Jamal was saying. And I didn't even realize until I had to go on this spiritual sabbatical. I didn't even realize while I had this problem on my job I just been dealing with for the last 2 weeks. Now I understand why God had to move me out of there. God is doing his thing, y'all, for us. Spiritually, it's a spiritual warfare going on. That's why I said, wait a minute. When Jasmine Crockett got up there and boy, she looked queendom, didn't she look queendom, y'all? To me, she did. I think she did her thing. I don't agree with all the politics on that side of the Democrats, but I tell you one thing, and I did not vote for Kamala. Okay? But I tell you one thing. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Okay? I'm going to keep it real. Wrong is wrong, and right is right. Jasmine Crockett spoke her truth. Whichever way it had to come out, she spoke her truth. She wasn't going to sit there and play with y'all. She wasn't going to sit there and try to fake it with y'all, be a fake with y'all, and not allow her true feelings to be out and said. So I don't see nothing wrong with how it came out. People saying it's ghetto. It's ghetto. All right. She's part of the culture. But she spoke the truth. And she did it with to me, she did it with a clean heart. And her words might have sounded nasty to say that other word, the A word, when you talking to your about whatever. But that's how she felt. Because I guess a lot of people, and then when I looked and I read that some people that lives in the state of Texas, that's their government, they governor, they said the same thing. We call him this all the time. We say all kind of other things about him. So y'all need to stop this. Well, she shouldn't have done. Because President Trump, our leader of our United States of America, the president, our chief and commanding chief in order of it, whatever, he's the highest of the office here, sat up there in public on TV, being very, very, how can I say it? Everybody, he said it the way he wanted to say it, and it came out the way he had his hands up on it. He was very, he was even hitting the man, on that man, Mr. Zelensky, the little dude. And I laughed at it, and I said, and I took his side about it too. I said, yeah, Trump, you got to protect us. We can't be letting people come here disrespect America like that. Yeah, I was on his side about it too, so I got to rock with my sister Crockett too. Okay? She's an American, and she's on us. She got to do her job, and she got to say it the way she got to say it, and she going to speak for the people because she understand what the people's struggles are. And man didn't put her there, and she didn't come in there as a DEI. She came in with merit. Okay. Just because a black woman or a black man is sitting in a position in power or any kind of leadership doesn't necessarily mean that they all are DEI. These people worked to get there. And I believe Jasmine worked and she deserved the respect. Don't be putting in no comment section that she was a DEI. She was chosen to be there because God put her there. Man didn't open the door for her or woman. It was God who placed her there. Because she worked her way there. Hard work. I didn't appreciate the disrespect of what somebody had to say about her putting herself in the front line of this fight. For what we American people want. And especially for black Americans. That was so disrespectful. I said, this is why it ain't safe for us to be out there, y'all. It ain't safe for us to be out here, y'all. And God is letting us know. The world is watching. They could get nasty and disrespectful with people, but when they got to get it back at them, they gonna try to belittle you, say all kind of other stuff, and here, and then you're gonna see the real them show up. They real bigot hearts show up, and it's in their DNA. You can't lie and hide with your DNA. They so desperate because they not like us. So anyway, y'all go check on that stock market and see where your money's at. Even if you work for McDonald's, you go look at your money on McDonald's on that stock market. If you don't feel that in McDonald's, is doing good or whatever, pull your money out of McDonald's. There's some McDonald's franchises out here, right? People own their own stores and stuff. Look at the stock market, people. And especially you music artists and Hollywood and entertainers, y'all better be looking at that. Well, they know already, but I'm talking about the poor people. I'm talking to those who's trying to figure out how they're gonna make it in this economy. Look at that stock market. Look at the stock exchange. Okay, so now moving on. We don't talk about business and politics, whatever, world politics, whatever. Now we're going to get into the conversation because I got all morning with y'all, to be honest with you, because I ain't got to go to work. I'm home. Anyway, y'all, we're going to move on to the next topic that I want to talk to you on this happy Thursday morning. I was looking at some old throwbacks of Rick James. I did share that on my community wall. You could go and look at it. It's there. What I forgot about Rick James, to include Rick James in our culture and what he brought to the culture, and I was like, wow, Rick James, man. I was a little girl when he first made his, appearance and everything with his type of music. He was with those bands back in the 70s. They used to be what they used to be called, what band was it? Parliament. Um, what's this other band name again? The Family Stone. band. I'm going way back. I'm trying to think. Sly and the Family Stone. Yep, Sly and the Family Stone, Parliament, Rick. Then all of a sudden, here came this other type of funk music. Soul funk. Because they basically, these bands were soul funks, Ohio players, all of that. They were all soul funk bands back then. And I'm talking about they used to have so much, they were full of energy. I mean, I used to watch them on TV. I wasn't at no concerts because I was too young for all of that. But just watching the energy they had, like Rick James. Rick James came out, you and I, doom, doom. My mother, that was the party starter. I'm saying I'm going back in the days when this is what it was like with the urban black culture. Okay. What an experience it was. Just telling my story. What an experience it was. Just remembering Rick James, remembering that song. I never forget I had a little friend from school. We used to back in the days when I was in school, elementary school and stuff, we were allowed to go home for lunch. Right? We were allowed out of the schoolyard to go home for lunch when we were kids. And me and our little friends used to get out of the schoolyard, go home for lunch, but actually we used to go to our little friend house. She had the house full of food and stuff. We used to go over there because our house was not too far from, like, walk down the block or whatever. That's where my school was, not too far from my house, so we was able to walk on home. But we was a group together. We go to my little our friend house, and we used to actually go there just so that we could go there for lunch. Because her grandmother or whatever used to always use from the West Indies. So her grandmother and everything used to always cook. So they used to always have like they little West Indian foods that we used to like to eat. Like we'll go there and get us some roti. I mean, not roti, but some Jamaican food or whatever. So we used to go over there, eat the leftovers she had for dinner, or whatever. And then we used to always like to play that doggone Rick James song. Yep, we used to just rock, and then you flip the record over and play the other song in the back that he used to make. And the song that we enjoyed the most was that song. Um, oh my God, Bustin' Loose or something like that. That song, we used to play that song. We used to flip the record over, play the other song. And I was like saying, Dag, Rick James, I was just thinking of those memories with Rick James playing up in the house. And we used to play Rick James. We used to get out of the schoolyard and go play Rick James at our friend's house and stuff. And on the weekends, the Rick James song was the song in back then. We loved our Rick James. And as the years went on and as his time was coming and stuff, and I never forget that was so funny when Prince started coming up and Rick James used to date Vanity, because Rick James was with her first. So somehow or the other, she ended up over there with Prince, and Prince started marketing her, right? Because Mick James had because she was part of the group with the Mary Jane girl. Rick James band, right? She was part of the Rick James band, and she was the main attraction. And Rick James and Prince got into it, and Rick James used to be roasting each other. So Prince was another type of person. Prince could be real, real, real. Prince would be wicked. You want to punch him in his face. So he used to really get Rick James because there used to be all kind of gossip going on the part where Rick James' mother was a fan of Prince. She liked Prince. Rick James' mother. So Prince didn't want to sign the autograph of Rick James' mother. Rick James wanted to. That was so. Those two was hilarious, and they both going now. And I can imagine what they like it up in heaven. Them two. But Rick James, before he left out of here, boy, he cursed everybody out at the BT Award. He was like, "What?" He said to that person back there, that little girl back there, or something. He said, that asked who I am. Um, I'm Rick James, bitch. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rick James was so funny. And Rick James, even when he entered the room, he let you know, I am king. I am the king of the funk band. You know, that's how his attitude was. Rick James stayed high. He'll tell you I stay high. He ain't hide nothing. Rick James was like, he lived on his own terms. Even now, come on. The military was trying to come for Rick James. Rick James found a way to escape going to Vietnam and all those places like Vietnam in the military and stuff. So he took his little behind and went into the reserves or some shit. He signed up for the reserve, so he would have to be on. Then they put him on active duty in the military for a while, and that's when he really got messed up on drugs. That's what messed him up. That's what messed up most of our black men back then on drugs and everything. It was the military. Okay, so PTSD is certain things they seen out there that they just wasn't able to cope. You know, you ain't gonna function well after you see certain things. Come on. And thinking of that, I was just like with what happened to oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I was listening to Choke No Joke. Um and some stuff he was just like he was talking about some stuff going on with Kanye. Now, I did think I talked about when Kanye was saying the horrible things he was saying about, to Jay Z to try to bait Jay Z in, like trying to get Jay Z to come out and beef with him or whatever so that would attract the attention for Jay Z to come out in the public and just put Jay Z on the spot like that, So Jay Z's going through some legal battles right now, and they need to be away from the public right now or whatever. But he's doing things to try to antagonize Jay Z or provoke Jay Z, saying things about Jay Z, and he want Jay Z so bad that he actually had to go so low and say about something about Jay Z's child his child's autism. We don't use that word no more. That word is outdated. It's not a nice word to say. It's really not a nice word. Jay Z has children with special needs, okay? Autistic. His and a lot of people have children that are autistic. And just because they autistic doesn't mean they are crazy or remember back in the days like blah, 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 blah. No, I work with these kind of children. They are so beautiful. They just like any typical child. Okay, and the thing with autistic children, only thing they just gonna have to take a little more extra time to do things in a certain normal way. It's just that work you'll have to probably put a little bit more extra time with them at certain ages at a certain age level where they not developing at that skill yet, but it's just going to be a little extra work at it. They not retarded, they not crazy, not they can't, it's not that they can't live a normal functional life. Even R. Kelly himself has a little autism. Okay, there is some autism. So being autistic doesn't necessarily mean you crazy, you retarded. Then they say retarded. Retarded is like a person who's just like totally nothing cognitively, nothing is functioning, everything is out of whack. They not. They have a certain routine on the way they do things, and sometimes things take them a little longer to learn than any what you would say typical child will learn if that's when you become typical. So Jay Z, he felt he was insulting Jay Z to make him hurt him. But see, thank God if he learned what autism is, if he knows how to use the word autism instead of everything, that tells you where his brain is growing at. So anyway, Kanye did something like that. So Choke was discussing it on the panel, and on a platform or whatever, and he was just like, it's sad, to see Kanye behavior like that with, even though he ain't no favor of Jay-Z himself, because he worked with Rock Nation. He been around Rock Nation. He been around these dudes. He said that's the spot Kanye wanted to be in. Jay-Z gave, this is what Choke No Joke is saying. He knows something because he been around these guys. He know these guys. He worked with these guys anyway. So anyway, he said that's what then Kanye. But to me, I think Kanye has never been given any kind of discipline. Straight up, I think everything always been Kanye's way. I just think Kanye has always been a big, big mama's boy. Like a little boy that just don't grow up. His mother was always protecting him. And anytime he had a tantrum about something, his mother just handed over to him. That's what I think Kanye is. He's a spoiled, rotten little brat. He's just spoiled to the bone. They said, spare the rod, spoil the child. And that's exactly what happened. He's a spoiled child. He's spoiled. Ain't nothing wrong with Kanye, but he's just spoiled. Mommy just never spanked him. Mommy gave Kanye everything he wanted. Kanye didn't like this, so Kanye got that. That's why he's taking it so hard without mommy being here. Because mommy was always doing what he want her to do. You see, woman, y'all better stop spoiling them boy children. You better stop treating them like they your man. You better start and making them feel like, oh, they always so needed. That you gotta keep protecting them, being so overprotective over them. Because when they get out in the real world, they're gonna be a Kanye. And that's exactly what he is. He's a spoiled, rotten, little pouty little brat. That's what he is. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He ain't crazy. He doing whatever he can to get attention because that's what he likes. Attention. I haven't messed with Kanye. None of that. But first of all, look at the wife he married, Kardashian woman, Kim, that porn star. That's what she is. You won't believe how many people told me that woman was in a porn with Ray J. It must be true. I don't know. I ain't never go. I don't go. I'm not no porn, whatever. But by the looks of her and her behavior, I believe it. They said she was in porn. Because believe me, half of the women that you see running around in there, anything you tell me if they've been in some kind of porn, episode or movie or whatever like that, I'm going to believe it. Half of the way they all dress. And everything is all about putting all these things out there. Everything. But then they want to come at the music. That's why that judge with Diddy, with this males too, they prostitute themselves in the business too. Ain't nobody taking advantage of them. They put in all that stuff on there talking about I was taking advantage. Some woman just came and said that when I first heard it, they really trying to play on your emotions with the BS. Okay, the little girl that's supposed when the child was only the little girl was 9 years old. Then they switched it up and came back and said she was 13. And then they said that, oh, pay attention to what they say when you hear about this affidavit. In the affidavit, the claims and everything that they come in against Diddy for on these charges of taking advantage of the children. They say that he and Jay-Z were both, they supposed to have messed with a girl and she was only such and such an age. So these people, all these claims that just keep piling up, they playing a game. Okay, they are playing a freaking game. All these claims just all of a sudden just popping out of nowhere. Popping out of nowhere. When knowing all along, as long as that Clyde Davis been in there, he knows something. Okay? But I don't see them trying to pull him in on this Rico shit they trying to do to these black men. Clyde Davis is also, he's also been an attorney. Okay? Did my research. And we going back when I think it was Columbia Records when he did some extortion and he did some crooked embezzlement with money and stuff with the money from the record company or whatever. They had to, he was some kind of executive something there and they fired his ass. They got rid of him. They let him. They cut him out of the business, and then that's when he. I don't know. And he got into this over here with these people. And look over the years, that man been in that business longer than any of these young men. And let me tell you, he's the oldest among R. Kelly, Jay Z, and Diddy. I'm talking about in this music whole thing that's going on right now in the music. That means everybody's involved because everybody's money is all over the place. We don't know who where their money is in that stock, but they got to follow where that money is on that stock market with their music. Okay? But Clyde Davis, he knows all the loopholes. He knows all kind of little ways of getting things. And let me tell you, he's an OG in the game, and he knows even if he didn't do it, he knows somebody that did. Because the big dogs like that, as far as where they at in the triangle or whatever they in, as far as in all of that Illuminati, whatever the heck that stuff they do over there in that music world, behind the scene when they want to knock somebody off or get rid of them or they getting too dangerous or they getting too much out there, they gonna get our secret out there or whatever, whatever. Oh yeah, there is a lot he knows before he go into his resting spot because he getting old. Time for him to repent and give us the truth. He knows something. That Clive Davis. He don't. He ain't got that much dementia now. He ain't got that much dementia. They probably ever he talk about. They asked him about Diddy. He said, "Who? Who?" Like he don't remember because he has dementia. Cause how old is that man now? That man should be about. Clive Davis almost 90. He passed the baton to his son, and his little favorite son over there, Diddy, his adopted son. Mm-hmm. We gonna find out. God will lead us, and like He let us now. One thing about the Lord, when you feel something, you feel it. You feel it. That's what you call the Holy Spirit. Then on top of that, God will never forsake us. That's why if God wants you to say it, you got to say just like Jasmine Crockett had to say what she had to say because God put it on her heart to say it. Moving on. Back to what I was saying about I said about Rick James, about how him and Prince they had their moment together and now they both gone in glory. And then we moved on and we talked about Clyde Davis and how he knows things and some other things that people didn't know that Clyde Davis is also an attorney. Mm-hmm. Yes, he is. And we talked about the Diddy and Jay-Z thing going on about Kanye. And Kanye is just a spoiled, pouty little brat. That's all it is. He's a mama's boy. And has always been a mama's boy. And he's still hanging on to mama's apron string, on the umbilical cord. He's here with us, but he's not here. You understand what I'm saying? He's like here, but he's not here. It's something like right now, his mind has stopped in a place of growth. And it's going to be a whole lot of work to come out of him. It's going to be a whole lot of work. So people got to learn how to just ignore him, turn him off. Yeah, so Choke No Joke was just saying that he's just like tired. He's the type of person that looking for somebody to come in. He's not gonna have the suicide. He wants to. He don't want to kill himself. He don't want to kill himself because he already know that if he kill himself, he ain't going to heaven. He going straight to hell. Okay, because God wants you to live so you can deal with whatever the punishment you got to deal with. Because going trying to take yourself out of here and don't want to deal with it is like totally you made your choice to go to hell. Okay, you made a choice to go to hell. You got to make your peace here on earth, or you ain't. Because if you don't, like I said, Clyde Davis, you got to come and tell the truth. You know something. Don't sit up there and cover up people's sins. You're not making it better by doing that. It's only gonna get. It's only gonna make it worse for you. Cause God gonna keep you here until it comes out of you. You ain't getting out cause you a little old man. He gonna make you remember something. He gonna make you remember something. So you ain't get out of here, Clyde. At what 89 years old, going on 90 almost. Oh, he gonna give you some memory there to remember some stuff before he take you out of here. Cause you gonna make sure you gonna help some people. Those people who are hurting and they want answers. They want to know what happened to their loved ones that you took out of here, or you know who took out of here, so they can be punished. Believe me, R. Kelly and Jay-Z and Diddy don't know as much as what Clyde Davis know. Like I said, even if he getting old, he ain't in the grave yet. He's still breathing. He's still alive. He's still on this earth. And let me tell you, God is not going to let him rest. And anybody that tried to touch him and put him out of his time before God, you're going to feel the wrath of God. So don't try to give him no medication and say, "Oh, what's the medication?" You know, people try to find all kind of ways to cover up their dirt. They evil. But like I said, with all this technology now, God is watching. There's a camera everywhere. You will be found. Your sins will be uncovered. And you're going to face it before you go into your bed. You are going to face it. You ever see those people, they on the bed dying and they be like, why they not gone yet? Oh, they hanging in. Just because you getting old, don't mean everybody getting old is getting old with grace. Some people getting old and wicked, and they go into a wicked place. And God going do them in before they he gonna make them suffer before they get out of here. Because they so wicked. They seen a lot of evil things happen and they never said a word. It's like we used to say about the people that used to stand around and watch the lynch mob come, lynch their mother. Some will fight and try to save them, and then you got some that just stood around and didn't even try to save their brothers from being hanged. Get off the, get shot, get something. You know, put your life on the battlefield. Yep. They try that shit now. Try that bullshit now. Because back then they had our ancestors in fear. They had all the guns and all of this other stuff. We wasn't about that stuff. That was their weapon. We didn't have our spears and the things that we used, which we could have used. And I'm sure some of them got smart enough to know how to use some of those things, they skills, as they military skills when they got in the fight, some of these soldiers. But I'm just saying, you stand there, you see the lynch mob coming for your sister, your brother, you ain't put your life out there for them. You know what? You just as bad as the person, the lyncher. You just as bad as them. That's the same way I'm saying. You get that's like how they do it in the law. You guilty of the crime. You was there. You saw it. I didn't see anything. They take you in an interrogation room. You're gonna tell me this. You're gonna give me the details. You're gonna know what happened. But they would. You can't lie. Just say I saw everything. Just tell the damn truth. You're gonna get punished, but you might not get severely punished. You know what I'm saying? Might take some off your sentence, some of the weight off of you. But you're gonna get punished. You're gonna have to deal with the consequences. We all are. We all gonna deal with the with our consequences. You know, I was just like some of my R. Kelly supporters was a little upset over Diddy um Rico, one of his claims being thrown out for Rico. You see, because first of all, the guy Little Rodney and his janky lawyer, whatever his name is, that attorney was already giving some type of order about that whole claim. Okay, that attorney he went to before asking for money again, suing Diddy because he was some kind of executive. Had to turn my phone off. I'm sorry. I know y'all heard it already, but that lawyer that is representing him was already at the state, case level. He already put in that claim before as a civil case for a civil claim, and it was thrown out. Now he wanted to include it in the federal case. That's why that Rico was thrown out. Because after they went through the whole, level of it, like everything that happened, and they read the affidavit, whatever, from what was said in the affidavit, the federal, they was like, get out of here with that. Boom. See, this is not state. This is federal with Diddy. You understand? This ain't no civil case. This is a federal case. This is a RICO. We going towards racketeering. What does it stand for? Racketeering, interrogation, whatever, corruption, organization, or something like that. We talking about some people with some money, with power to abuse people and commit crimes at the highest level of crimes of abuse, murder. We talking about murder. We talking about rape. I mean, I'm talking about you talking about people doing some hard time. So this dude here gonna come with that. He couldn't even get that in a civil case because everything he did with Diddy was consensual. He wasn't a child. They're looking for in this RICO, like, is he forcing you to do something? Did he force you to come out? Did he force you? Did he threaten you? Did he do this? Did he that? Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was robbed. I mean, like some cases of that level. This dude is coming with something he did consensual to come and be living in. He came to live there. It's not like nobody told. I mean, people don't get it. Like this man, Little Rod, you came to live with Diddy. Diddy did not have a group of men or whatever bound you up, throw you in a van, blindfold you, hog tied you, and then brought you to his house and he kidnapped you and chained you up and left you in a room locked in there and used you as a sex slave. Dummy. You don't come into Rico because you came to move in with somebody and things didn't work out. He didn't pay you the money and you was in participating in some of the things he was doing. That's not a Rico. That's not a fucking Rico. What kind of? I was like, damn, people better know the law. I don't know the law that good. I mean, I dropped out of practicing law for a long, long time, but I just know that's not a Rico. That's why that shit was thrown the fuck out. Oh my God. It's not that Diddy is not going to get charged in this case on a RICO level. You know, they looking through all the claims of all the things he did. That one was thrown out because that doesn't fit anything of a RICO. It doesn't stick. You know, so they threw that shit out of there. They like, don't come back. They just trying to, just like he said, these people are out to monetize. You know, they looking for the monetize off of him. They looking for a bag. You ain't gonna do this dumb shit what they did with R. Kelly. I'm sorry. And then on top of that, because R. Kelly didn't have the powerhouse attorneys and he didn't have the kind of money to pay for the powerhouse attorneys that Diddy got. Diddy and Jay-Z and them got. R. Kelly had to work with the attorneys that was already in the music company. So he couldn't win. He had really nobody, or he had to get some, what they call when they just assign somebody to you and you don't got no money, a public defender or something like that to come and help you out or whatever, but they don't. And then on top of that, they're going to assign you one of the worst federal, attorneys that fight on that level. They're going to give you the worst representative, okay, who doesn't have a good record of winning. That's what they do. And they bankrupt R. Kelly. R. Kelly didn't have nothing to fight on. Nothing. Not to keep going. Not the way they've been keep going. Diddy and them got way more money than R. Kelly. Way more. And they got their own attorneys. They got their own attorneys. Why? That's the difference between what happened with R. Kelly. Because if R. Kelly had the powerhouse attorneys that Diddy and them got, he would have been out. He would have been out. He wouldn't even got a RICO. Because Diddy and Jay-Z was the ones making all the big money up there. So they know they got the money and they got the powerhouse attorneys. Okay. To give them the time they get in and how everybody's like, oh, well, because Diddy and them got more, they have way more money. Go look at their network. Of them that's been reported. But what about the network that isn't reported? Mm-hmm. Yep. Now y'all know. This is going to be a long fight, y'all. Diddy and Jay-Z case, it ain't going to be no open and shut, boom, boom thing like they did R. Kelly. Oh, no, they going to go to war. They going to war now and court ain't even start yet. They haven't even had the trial yet. And they going to war like this. So you could imagine what it's going to be up in that courtroom. That's going to be the biggest trial to make history in the music industry. It's going to be a power. I mean, you're going to probably have to get pay-per-view to see it. People probably going to be lined up outside to see the trial. They're gonna make it like it's gonna be the game. hmm I'm telling you, that's what it's gonna be. You're gonna make this trial look like it's gonna be the Super Bowl. They're gonna probably be performing the night before. Like they're gonna give a pre-trial party or whatever like that. People gonna try to get all creative. Oh yeah, people gonna come out and try to make some money off the trial. I'm telling y'all, they're gonna make some money on that trial. Taking down two big moguls in black music and entertainment. Okay, it's gonna be a part of a Black American history. We making history, y'all. I didn't even make my coffee or anything. I don't even know what I want for breakfast this morning. But anyway, y'all, I've been on here long enough. Just hope to give y'all the morning, what to look out for this morning on this happy Thursday. Just know that this day is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice, be glad in it. Don't let nobody steal your joy. Walk in your excellence and keep it moving. And I'll be back with you soon. Take care and be safe.